Thank you so much for staying tuned with me here in the studio. He is a political analyst and activist. I join me to welcome Emmanuel Aibogun. Emmanuel, welcome to TMI. So this edition.
Good morning.
I appreciate you coming. Coming back from the season.
Merry Xmas.
Yeah, you look like a typical Benue man.
Yeah, my mom is Benue, so I'm proud to, to come from that part of the country.
And of course, we still have Ojo Mafidon here with us in the studio. And we're going to talk more on this particular topic. Were you surprised when Mr. President refused to assent to the electoral bill?
For me, I would say a capital no, owing to the fact that it has always been a tradition with our political elites to always ensure that when the elections are around the corner, they don't give room for any electoral amendments. It happened during the time of Goodluck Jonathan. While the PDP was still in power, they obviously declined assent to the electoral amendment as it was put forward before the presidency as at then. And back again to President Muhammad Buhari is still the same issue. The truth about it is that the National Assembly has, continuously showed the lack of political will to represent the true reflections of Nigerians. If you are saying we should be writing JAMB exams through the platform of technology, you are saying we should be writing WAEC and more other forms of academic prospects when it has to do with examinations through the technology, and you are saying the electoral process that ushers in leaders into the system should not tap from that human resource. And for me, I laugh because it goes way beyond talking about the check and balances that they want to do. And for some of us who are youths, who are beginning to nurse this intention of political aspiration, it also shows to us that the chances are very thin. Because if, for instance, I come from one local government and I want to do elections in my constituent, I should want to see an electoral process that gives me a result from every polling unit, from my agents and right to my collation centers. If you watch what happened during the last Edo elections, you saw that nobody knew the government had a situation room right in Government House where every result from every polling unit were being transmitted from across the 192 wards of Edo State. And with that, it was very difficult for anybody to manipulate the system. For me, I laugh at Nigerians because the political system is not ready to bring in capable hands. We still want this same, hula baloo of recycling the same thing. But for me, also, I would want to say that I want to see a National Assembly that will stand up tall, because the powers are there. They are the ones who have what it takes to actually, override the will of the president.
Okay.
And that is it.
All right, I'll come back to it. So some are saying this goes beyond the eyes, that maybe, just maybe, the 36 governors, they are really behind Mr. President not assenting to this bill, because some of them, according to report, may just have ambition to come back, and that bill may just be a kind of a hurdle for them if they don't squash it. What do you feel about that mentality?
We'll see. Like I said just now, there shouldn't be any problem about this bill. The main problem they have about this bill, or should I say the main reason why the president has refused to assent to the bill, is the red primary and all that. And which the other day I came, I said this fight was between the governors and the legislators.
Okay.
So the governors know supporting this bill is not because maybe there's any motive. How do I put it? Like, it's not because they don't. The bill per se is not okay for them. The reason is because of that direct primary. And until that direct primary issue is settled, there is no governor that will assent to it, because it will definitely affect them. Because now the legislators will just come home during elections, and if it's direct primary, they have more opportunity than indirect primaries, because the governor dictates indirect primaries, while the direct primaries,
It's free for all.
Yeah, it's free for all. And these people, they have money. Like the other analyst said just now, he said money bags. These people, they are all money bags. They have money.
Yes.
So if the governor is spending, and so the truth is, the reason the reason I'm not supporting the president for this is because he could have ascended to the bill and send it back to the National Assembly for amendment. Yes. Yeah. For that direct primaries. Because you say, okay, fine. The reason is because the direct primaries. What about the other option, the other
aspect of the bill? Yes,
of the bill. Why would you just ascend to those ones first, and you ask them to amend these direct primaries? Because it's Section 87 of the 2010 Electoral Act, as amended, has already given political parties options of direct and indirect primaries. So you telling me the reason I didn't assent to this bill is because of the direct primaries and all that? There's reasons. There's more reason to that.
All right. Does it mean that the governors are very powerful for Mr. President to curtail?
In Nigeria, anybody who tells you governors are not powerful, that means the person doesn't understand the political landscape. The truth about it is that over time, our governors have been able to show to Nigerians that they are truly chief executive officers. But narrowing it down to our political existence as to advancing the cause of humanity in this country, they have jettisoned that aspect. And that's where there's a problem. You see political parties talking about, or the president talking about primaries, it's very laughable. Is primaries the real ingredient in an electoral process? Is primaries the determining factor? We have over 30 registered political parties in this country. And how many of them, as I repeat, how many of them really conduct primaries? And how many of them really have the spread political network across the wards and local governments in the country, to conduct primaries? The truth be said, for me, this is just a fight between the two political big party, as the case may be, the PDP and the APC.
We'll come back to that, if it's a fight between the political parties or fight between the governors and, of course, the presidency, and where those legislators, where do they stand in all of this? They're so happy, so excited to say, look, this is what we want to do. And they are saying, let's wait for the action of Mr. President, and the action prove to be that he's not in support of it. We want to go for a break. When we return, we'll continue with this discussion. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We're at the last lap of today's edition of This Morning on ITV. I have Emmanuel Aigogo, and of course I will join Murphy. Don't help me in the studio. We're taking a look at 2021 in retrospect, politics and economics. Like the politics took over the show for today. Maybe next time we'll take a look at the economy, security, and you just name it. You're making a point talking about the strength of the legislators versus that of the governor. But Malam Nuruddin said the president is the easiest person to curtail or to deal with right now, in quote, by the Senate and the House of Representatives. So why are they not exercising their powers in that regard?
Wilson, just as I said before we went on the news break, these two political parties in Nigeria, the PDP and the APC, they form a very large chunk of the governors we have. And what that informs is that whatever decision you see out there, you know, as regards to the electoral law for amendment, is a political ideology of these two political systems. I told you earlier, I started by saying even when President Goodluck Jonathan was the president, the PDP, you know, openly did not assent to the bill. Now you also have President Muhammad Buhari, and you are still seeing the same thing playing out. It's just the mindset of the political ideologies that you know, manage these political institutions, as the case may be. But sadly enough, that other, would I call them mushroom parties?
No parties in mushroom party, please. Don't take exception to that. That's an insult to them. Parties are parties.
Okay, those smaller parties, as the case may be.
Okay.
I don't know why you know, they keep quiet at a time like this, because ordinarily this shouldn't be an issue that should bother an ordinary Nigerian citizen, because in as much as you're in your polling unit and your vote counts, well, you will say, fine, so be it. But the political parties that are being shortchanged, that are being seen as victims when it comes to this issue of transmission of results, How come they are so quiet? And we are also talking about, changing the political system in the country. So for me, this is the Nigerian fate, and it is left for we as a people and we as political movements to see if it is good for us. Because for me, despite the fact that the president have refused to ascend to the bill at a time like this, I have not seen all those, what do you call them, coup, the coalition of political opposition parties. I've not seen them come up with a statement. I've not seen major stakeholders who are in the political systems. I've not seen them make any statement.
But I'm saying it's not their fight, sort of.
My brother, when I say it's not their fight, I'm not saying that they shouldn't take it headlong. I try to narrow it down to let you know that this is the problem, whereby those of us who are in the system knows. You cannot tell me that an election where you know that, yes, the APC and the PDP leaders can always muscle the outcome of the elections, and other smaller parties will not be a benefactor to that muscling. At the end of the day, a process is before you to checkmate those excesses, and the outcome is not in favor of what should be, and people who ought to be seen as stakeholders are quiet. So what do you now expect a layman like us to do?
You're an activist of crying out loud. Why you put yourself as a layman? You're an activist.
Being an activist does not mean, in this part of the world, does not mean you have all it takes to will I say, confront issues.
You're right.
Look at Dexmond, who we just lost, Bishop, who you spoke about in the news.
Yeah.
During their time, you knew what it was. Despite the harsh situation they found themselves, the system gave them that opportunity to air their minds. But for here now, it's not the case. So for me, Wilson, I want to believe that the president should quickly look into this, because he was also a victim of this result muscling. He contested 3 times, and those 3 times he claimed to have won once, and power was not given to him, not until when you had the coalitions of political parties coming together to form the APC, and he later, won the elections.
All
so
right.
for me, I believe the president should quickly do something.
Okay. Now, from what Madam Reading said, he said, look, the president is an easy person to do it if the House really want to, exercise the authority in this particular situation. But they are not doing it. They're talking about going out there to collect signatures and all that. Why are they not exercising their powers, knowing fully well that they agree to that? How come, Mr. President, they didn't accentuate?
Well, I disagree with that. Nigeria is a diverse nation. And the National Assembly, they are also careful. Let me put it like that. We also went during the time of a former president of I think the Ninth Assembly, also Saraki, when he was president of the Senate. We also, anytime they are trying to do their job, we also had some part of the country were always reacting, calling them names. So you're telling me the National Assembly have every right or every power? It may happen in civilized nations, but not in a country like Nigeria, whereby we have the religious problem and ethnic and all that. So the National Assembly, not that they don't have constitutionally they have every powers. The yam and the knife is with them. They have the powers, but do they have the boss? That's where the problem is. Look at the leadership of the National Assembly, both the Senate and the Reps. We all knew how they came in. So I can't just say they are yes man, like they are answerable to the president. So there is just those two, the leadership of the National Assembly we currently have. I can say they don't have the balls. They don't have they just there. Let me say they are figureheads.
But they may not agree to this. You call them figureheads.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is, if it's during the time of Bukola Saraki, I will say okay, fine. The president, they'll definitely. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What else we have there now? I won't even lie to you. I don't even know the Senate president. I don't even know his name because he's not active.
You cannot say he's not active. Lawa is very, very active. But Jabamila also is very, very active. You said he's not active. It's an affront to his person.
I'm coming, sir. We see how the presidency these days, they're always going for loans. And the National Assembly, who is supposed to checkmate them, they don't even care. We also, the other day, one senator cried out, I guess it's from Kogi State, that a ministry budgeted by 80-something billion naira for mosquito nets. And you know, till now, nobody has been probed, and even the senator, I know by now, they might have.
Was it billions or millions, 100 millions of that nature?
No, it's about something billion naira.
Because right now, I just care about the figure, but it was high. People reacted to that.
No, it was just one person, one senator from the House. Now, you're telling me the National Assembly have, fine, they have all the powers to override the amendment, the Electoral Act. They have every right. And since the president has refused to sign it now, that means we have to work with the one Jonathan signed, I guess 2015 or 2014. So that's what we use to conduct the 2023 election.
All right. Now, hold on. He said that the House, talking about the National Assembly, they have the knife and the yam. But as it stands, do they really have any of this?
For me, constitutionally they do.
Constitutionally they do?
Constitutionally they do.
So what is happening right now?
Academically they do. But physically, they are far from it. The reason is very simple. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is not just the President. The President controls the entire system. You saw the reaction that greeted the unfortunate invasion of Justice Mary Odele's residence, and how the Rivers people took it headlong. For me, I would have believed that I would have seen more of an opposing statements from the PDP, and particularly from that leadership of the PDP. But what you have looked at now is not something very, very, very significant. So that tells you that for that issue, for that aspect, we shouldn't see it as a problem. Because of what I said earlier, that the two political systems we have in this country, which is the PDP and the APC, they think alike. Particularly when it has to deal with the issue of this power tussle. So for some of us, we have the ideology that not until when those smaller political parties, as you rightly said, decides to come out from their sleeping shells, we wouldn't get it right. Basically, in all these political parties, we have national chairmen, we have publicity secretaries. What are they saying? So putting the buck on just the National Assembly alone is in the kind of system we operate, where we have not seen that, in fact, the ethnic principles and way of reasoning is what is galvanizing the programs of government. So for me, I believe if we must get it right, the political parties and their coalition bodies must rise up and stand up tall to speak up. One thing we see in this part of the world is that not until when people begin to condemn something, people don't see it as an issue, because a whole lot of issues within the electoral bill before the president should not be seen as a child's play. But when you see that those key stakeholders who ought to speak are not speaking, that goes a long way to tell you that
something is wrong.
Something is wrong.
That goes a long way to tell you something is wrong.
All right. Now, they've been threatened by the National Assembly, saying they're going to do one or two things. They're going to, how will I put it now, have their way in this
thing. They're going to override
Mr. President, and do one or two things. Do you think that will work?
The truth here is this. By the time they get to the floor of the House, I've seen this happen over time. It will not be the northern senators versus the rest senators. So that is the problem of Nigeria.
Wow.
See, the truth about it is that I tell most people when we sit down to talk that Nigeria is not ready for development. What we are seeing here is just the eye service. Because you see something affect somebody today, he cries out. And tomorrow, when it's not on their own part, you see them keeping quiet and, just playing to the gallery.
Okay.
So that is it.
All right, before I call it a wrap, you're going to have the last line on this discussion. They've said they're going to override what Mr. President said. He said, Emmanuel said it's not going to work. He has seen it happen several times. There'll be no headway, none of this. Briefly, what do you think will really happen in this situation?
Like my comrade said just now, he said the smaller parties. For me, we only have two political parties in Nigeria.
No, we don't have to wrap more than two political parties, please.
The other political parties, they are subsidiaries of either PDP or APC.
They may choose to disagree with you.
I know.
They'll be like, no, it's not true.
What I'm saying, sir, because for me, they are not really serious. Like he said, these are the people that are supposed to have
stepped up.
Yes. And they are not. Are you expecting me to start crying that Mr. President didn't say it because I'm not a politician? So they are the one that will benefit from it in one way or the other. So, but for the National Assembly, they said in the Bible, there's one part they said, "Can anything good comes out from
Bethlehem?"
Bethlehem, something like that. So that's we Nigerians, majority of Nigerians, we don't have faith
in the National
Assembly. So whatever they do you know the reason why many people didn't really, should I say, protest or speak out about this electoral amendment, because they already knew these people, they are just rubber stamps. And
they will not agree to that. They're not rubber stamps. They're doing their job. They're legislating.
Let them do their job. If they want the Nigerian people to believe in them, this is the right time to act. Thank God 2022, for next year, campaign is starting, right? Now, many of them are coming back home to seek for our vote.
All right.
So this is the best time for them to act. So that we'll stop calling them rubber stamp.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Our time, as you can see, the time is like, fast spent. I appreciate your comment. Let's see how this will pan out. Will they be able to override Mr. President's power, or will they remain status quo? It's going to be between a battle between the geopolitical zones right now in terms of the particular electoral amendment bill. Let's see what will really happen. Well, this is the last edition, Sunday's edition for TMI for the year 2021. It's been a wonderful time with all of you out there watching, calling, sending feedback to me about the discussion, that discussion, this guest, that guest. Really appreciate all of you saying have a wonderful new year ahead. Bye for now.